So in this video, we're talking about the second step in the kindergarten intervention. This intervention occurs right after the pre-letter name and sound intervention, and it's called the Reading Club Jumpstart intervention. It's also found in your red binder. So let's look at the routines. The routines themselves look like this. So let's talk about what each routine looks like individually. That first routine really only takes a couple minutes. And this is where we introduce the new letter of the day, capital and lowercase. And each day, a new letter is introduced. In this intervention, you state the letter name and sound, have the children repeat it, and then make sure that they're doing the sound correctly. So you're going to want to use, actually, this card, the back of your sound spelling cards, to give you the information of how their mouth should look and how it should be stated correctly. It's very important to use this information. You have them repeat the sound, do the sound action. In this one, it's Andy Apple, A, and it has the action with it. Different kindergarten teachers have different ways to do it. You need to collaborate with your kindergarten teachers, so make sure that you're doing it the same way. The child will have a chance to do it several times. They might do it standing up, sitting down, or whispering. But make sure as they do it, they are looking at that letter on the card, so they're associating it with that letter. If you're not for sure what they are, the current alphabets with their names and actions are found in the red binder. Okay, so our next routine we will look is how to form the letters. Now in this routine, you're going to demonstrate how to draw the letter and using the letter formation prompts. Now it is essential to use the same words that we use because you will be using them, the kindergarten teacher will be using them, and also the SPED teacher. So we can be using all the same vocabulary with our students. Now, these letter formation prompts are also found in the red binder. You are using the same words that are taught in the same words that were taught in that pre-letter name and sound lessons. So when you are doing that, it's very, very important that children do this. They need to verbalize the name and the sound. That's extremely important because that helps them to do this. It helps them to put it into long-term memory. So make sure your children are actively verbalizing it. Now that could look like a lot of different things when they're writing. It depends on what they need. So it could look like this. It could be that you have the letter already written on the page and they are tracing over the letter as they are saying it. It also could later on look like this. Well, the letter is at the top as a model, and then they write it underneath. It also may look like this, where the writing, you follow the needs of your students, where the writing is actually on handwritten lines that help them with their handwriting. So it just kind of depends on what your children need. But a reminder, it's very important that while a child is writing, they should be vocalizing what they are doing so they put it into their long-term memory. Okay, so our first two routines that we have covered so far, these are really about learning new letters, not to mastery, it's just an introduction. Now, the bottom two routines, this is where we start to try to give it to mastery, and we are reviewing the letters that we learned so far each day so that we can get them to mastery and to be fluent with our letter names and sounds, and they look a little bit like this. So the first one we talk about is the tracing routine. And we're going to be tracing and verbalizing only the letter name and sound, not the directions of how to write it. We're not practicing handwriting right now. We're just verbalizing the letter name and sound. And this is heavily research-based. So it's a quick review of today's letters plus all the letters previously taught. You add one letter at a time to this routine using your letter tracing cards that look like this. So while tracing the letter, they will only say the name once and the sound twice. A, 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 A. In the lowercase, A, 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 A. Now, a tip and trick of how to do this a little easier is that each of you could use one of these folders. If you need any of these folders, the coaches could help you out with that. So each child could have one of these folders and say this is your new letter. You put the new letter in the folder with the letters you've done previously. They take them out of the folder, they do the tracing routine as they verbalize the sound, and as they do one, they put it to the other side, and then they do the other one, put it to the other side. When all of them are done, you know they've done the tracing routine. At the beginning, you might only have one or two, so you could do it there and then trace it and do it back. But towards the end, you have so many letters, you're probably only going to have a chance to do it once. But this might be something helpful. And then the letters you haven't taught yet, you can leave them on the ring. But as you teach them, you take it off the ring and you put it into their folder. And that might be something that helps you go a little bit faster. Okay, so the next routine is going to be the Alpha-Buddy routine for reviewing all the letters. And in this routine, we are using these cards. And it's just a quick review of today's new letter plus all the other letters previously taught. The children repeat the name, the sound, and they do the action for the Alpha-Buddy. Now, there is going to be some scaffolding of the cards. Okay, so at the very first, we're using these cards. As they get better, you'll need different cards that don't have the letter, the picture, but they have only the letter. And they can still say, and the apple, a, or however each different teacher does it, but they won't be able to see the picture. Then to scaffold them even further, when they get better, we will take it and have different cards. We'll just only have the lowercase or the alphabet, but they can still say, and the apple, a. Then after that, to scaffold it further, we will be using cards, again, not with a picture, where they just say a. Depends on what they need is how you're going to be doing it in your reading club group. Please collaborate with your kindergarten teacher so you can know what is needed. One of the importance to when doing this is we need repetition. So they really need to be doing these last two routines every single day. That's how they're going to get into mastery. And as they're doing it, you also need to make sure that they are looking at the letter to get that into their long-term memory. So now let's look at Thursday. Now Thursday can be the same as the other days, or you could do it a little bit different. So the bottom two routines are going to be the same, but that top routine, it's going to be a little different. You may want to do that as a review day. And so instead of adding a new letter, you might just want to review the letters that day. And you can review the letters in a couple different ways. You might want to review handwriting that letter or forming that letters. And you could use our letter formation chants that are found on YouTube. Many of the teachers use this in their classrooms so the children are used to it. As you do one of these 1-minute routines, the child gets 8 to 12 repetitions of practicing the letter through mnemonic, what would be music. Now, if you need a little help on how to use these, we have this video right here that you could link to. It's just a 5-minute video. It'll show you how you actually can use these letters. Now, another thing you could do in this time is you could use your magnetic letter kit. So each child has a board like this. The letters live at the top. We play with them down here. And these could be the letters that you've taught so far. And so you could have them pull them down, trace them, A, put them up. They could also work in teams where they're working in partners and they say, okay, you get to choose the first one. Which one should we say and trace? Let's do S. So they both pull them down, S, and put it back up. However you want to do it, have them physically handling the letters that you've already taught could be a great idea to help them review that day instead of taking a new letter. Now, this is the Jumpstart routine. If you have any questions or concerns, please talk to another kindergarten teacher or please feel free to talk to one of your instructional coaches. We would love to help you.